Childhood Drowning, presented by Group 2, which includes Anthony Rowan, Molly Shelley, Ariana Rexepi, Christine Sherlin, Megan Ricks, and Emma Johnson. And now we will be going into the background slide as presented by Christine.
Hello, my name is Christine Sherlin, and today I'll be providing you with a brief background on childhood drowning. As we all know, drowning is the act of being submerged in water until suffocation occurs, meaning breathing becomes more difficult. Drowning can happen anywhere where there is a body of water, at times even buckets containing of water. Drowning occurs quickly and quietly. Therefore, it should come to no surprise that children are more likely the victims of drowning. In the U.S., around 3,000 individuals lose their lives due to drowning, and a good percentage of those are children ages 0 to 19, with boys at a greater risk than girls, with their fertility rate at 15.6 per million as opposed to 6 for girls.
Hello, this is Ariana Rexepi, and I will be presenting the population focus slide. With our topic being childhood drowning, the main population at risk are children. Children are drowning, and at a very alarming rate, and according to the American Red Cross, drowning is a leading cause of death of children in the United States and is the leading cause of death for children with autism in the U.S. With a global focus shift, drowning is found in every economy and country. However, according to the WHO, World Health Organization, low and middle income countries account for over 90% of unintentional drowning deaths. The scope of childhood drowning not only heavily impacts us locally in the United States, but globally as well. Most childhood drowning occurs at pools, according to the American Red Cross, but the places vary by age, with older children more likely to drown in big bodies of water such as beaches or ponds or lakes. Safety measures such as education and swimming lessons, which Megan will speak of in a later slide, will greatly improve safety for children individually, but for the population as a whole. And for the next slide, Anthony will speak on distribution.
Moving on to the distribution of childhood drowning, we first look at the distribution by person. The CDC reveals some alarming statistics related to drowning incidents, indicating that the highest rates of drowning are witnessed in the vulnerable age group of 1 to 4 years old, and stands as the second leading cause of death for those aged 5 to 14. This data underscores the significant risk that children face when around bodies of water. Their limited swimming abilities and physical strength, coupled with the unpredictability of their emergency responses, make it imperative that water safety concerns should be addressed in younger children. Moving on to the distribution of place. Swimming pools in particular stand out with the highest fatality rate in these cases. 87% of drowning incidents involving children under the age of 5 take place in environments such as swimming pools, hot tubs, or bathtubs. For children falling within the 5 to 17 age group, a different trend emerges, showing a higher likelihood of drowning in open bodies of water than that of the 1 to 4 age group. Additionally, it's important to note that children under the age of 1 are at a distinct risk, as they are more prone to drowning incidents occurring within the confines of their own homes. These statistics emphasize the unique risks posed to children of different ages. Moving on to distribution of time. While rates may fluctuate, it is a well-established fact that child drownings are most prevalent during the summer months when people tend to gravitate towards bodies of water for recreational activities. During the peak summer season, which is between June and August, a significant majority of these tragic incidents unfold. For our younger children, another critical factor comes into play with the risks associated with being left unsupervised when they have access to a body of water, particularly in a home setting around a pool. This shows that these factors underscore the importance of vigilance and safety measures during these high-risk periods.
The determinants of childhood drowning are risk factors and protective factors. When it comes to the risk factors, there are ranges from the inability to swim to neglection of safety protocols, absence of barriers around pools, and the protective factors are practically the opposite of the risk factors, which means supervision, maintaining constant and attentive vigilance, safety features around pools, such as 4-foot-high fences, and learning fundamental techniques, such as floating and navigating in the water.
Childhood drowning has a significant effect on public health. With high morbid and mortality rates, it ranks the top third in unintentional deaths. These deaths are tragic to families and cause intense emotional distress. Whether a child dies or deals with non-fatal effects, the investigation and emergency precautions is very costly. The statistics on childhood drowning for crude death rates per 100,000 populations were 95%, meaning 1.1 deaths per 100,000 in children and adolescents ages 0 to 17 years old between 2020 and 2021. The morbidity rate has a high effect on the population because children who survived an almost fatal drowning incident may experience lifelong physical effects and psychological trauma. These lifelong effects can include organ damage, lung problems, brain damage, and have extensive rehabilitation processes. They could also have psychological and cognitive brain damage to their brain, which causes them to have trauma for a lifelong time. Along with their families experiencing the same kind of trauma, their families might also have trouble financially after the rehabilitation process and healthcare bills.
So when we talk about drowning, there are two common types of drowning, and that is fatal drowning and non-fatal drowning. So pretty much fatal drowning, this happens when the outcome of the drowning incident results in death. On the other hand, non-fatal drowning, this happens when the child survives the drowning incident, but doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have a range of outcomes, and this goes from no injuries to very serious injuries. A lot of brain damage can be caused, permanent disability, and medical conditions like that. So in the United States, more children ages 1 to 4 die from drowning than any other cause of death. This is talking about fatal drowning, obviously. And then when we go to the age group 5 to 14, drowning is the second leading cause of unintentional injury. And this will be right behind motor vehicle crashes. So like I said, non-fatal drowning can result in long-term health problems and costly hospital stays. For every child under 18 who dies from drowning, another 7 receive emergency medical care treatment from non-fatal drowning. So that's about half of those that die from drowning. Nearly 40% of drownings treated in the ER require hospitalization or transfer to another medical facility, healthcare facility. This might specialize in pediatrics or other conditions that they may have now. Drowning injuries can cause brain damage and other serious outcomes, like I said, including long-term disability. So two facts. Here in the United States, there are an estimated 4,000 fatal unintentional drownings. So if we look at, that's an average of 11 drowning deaths per day. When we talk about non-fatal drownings, there are about 8,000, and that is an average of 22 non-fatal drowning deaths, or 22 non-fatal drownings per day. So even though those that's almost double the amount of incidents are being recorded that are non-fatal, which is huge.
For my slide on childhood drowning, I'm going to be talking about control of health problems. There are many ways to try and prevent childhood drowning, and the main way is by taking your kids to proper and effective swim lessons. Children that have proper swim lessons are 88% less likely to drown. As a parent, you should know what to do in a situation like this occurs. I know it might be hard to think about, but this will be very effective in the future if need be. When you are around water a lot with your kids, you should look into CPR training. Knowing emergency procedures is crucial because it can triple the chance of survival after cardiac arrest. If you and your family are the type of people who love to go to the beach, it is very important to understand riptides and what to do if you get caught in them. The best way to survive a riptide is to stay afloat and swim parallel. Riptides are responsible for approximately 100 deaths every year. If caught in a riptide, remember to stay calm. Riptides do not pull you under the water. They simply just take you away from the shore. Riptides take lives from exhaustion. When a child is in the water, no matter how deep or shallow it is very important to keep your eye on them. That means don't go on your phone, don't read a book, and just don't have headphones in so your full attention is on them. For a child drowning, it can happen as fast as 20 seconds and can often be very silent. Another way to ensure your child is safe at home if you have a pool is by building a fence that is fully enclosed your pool. You should also try and remove all the toys from your pool area that might attract your child to that area if you are not using it or not fully paying attention to it. All of this adds up to layers of prevention against childhood drowning.
Lastly, here are all the references used in our presentation. Thank you so much for watching our presentation on childhood drowning as presented by Group 2.